Hey, Gamex here. So, Madden 21 beta first impressions. I made a list of things I jotted down that we'll get to. I want to go one by one through each of the things, the pros, the cons, that kind of stuff, how it's playing. First off, I want to talk about the beta in general. I think it's cool that they're doing it. I don't like that it's regs. Regs is boring. Regs only gives us a partial picture of the game as it is. Like, so if we bounce around regs, then MUT's kind of suffering, and MUT's our main mode for a lot of players. It's way more interesting to play than just regular players online. They don't even give us practice mode this year versus last year. This year's beta is actually stepped down. I was hoping for an expansion to kind of just bring in like MLB The Show does, bring in last year's MUT cards, just put them in the beta and let us go wild. Like give us like for the first few days, let us play with like silver and golds, and then go up to elites. Then at the end, go with 99 overall. So way we can kind of like get a spectrum of feeling how the game plays with different cards. Sadly, we can't do that. We just got 4 teams, so unfortunately it's regs. You're not really missing much in the beta if you didn't get a code, if you didn't sign up when I told you to sign up. Sure, it's kind of cool playing the new game, getting thing, but it's not like it's a fun experience. So let's talk about the opinions. It's still sad we can't capture them and give them footage on a lot of this stuff. It's just dumb. But I think first off, the throw out a hit. It's something I noticed right away. It is my first note, obviously, I made on the page, and it was cool because Tom Brady, the rush was coming in. I got it out. I hit Gronk on the corner route as I was taking a hit. As he was going down, the pass was going out. So really neat feature. The throw motions are better. The throw out a hit is really cool. Good job adding that. It should tamp down a little bit on the blitz meta that we have in 20. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Users are really weak. Users are basically the agility is kind of trying to like move a Mack truck. You're really slow on the get around. It's going to be very hard to cover multiple routes this year. You can still do it with enough finessing, but I did see some tweets have been saying the same thing. One says I saw one tweet say the user defender is the worst defender on the field. I wouldn't go that far because the pass coverage is also ass. The zones are tough right now, not playing very good. The run game, well, I mean, if the game stays like this, it's going to be a very offensive year. It's going to be very hard to get stops, which, I mean, isn't a terrible thing because this year just running 1-4-6 contain blitzes. Defense has been super easy for a few years with contain blitzes. But the run game is very powerful, in my opinion, still. D linemen get bullied too much on like dives. They just get pushed backwards, right? D linemen don't have, there's not much shedding that I've seen. They don't have very much, like, I've seen the center, I think it was like a 74 overall center bully Vita Vea. I forgot who it was, what team, but they bullied Vita Vea and pushed him back like a yard and a half, 2 yards on a dive, one-on-one. Vita had more strength. Vita was like bigger than him. Vita should not be like, so they got to fix that. That defensive lineman should be able to hold their spot and actually get a push sometimes versus always either like getting pushed by the offensive lineman or at best holding their ground. So they got to fix D-line mechanic on dives because that looks like the powerful run to me right now. You can find some yards. Inside zone look pretty nice too. Stretch and toss did get nerfed a little bit. We'll talk about Earl Thomas's like see the play in a little bit. So toss and stretch did get nerfed with them getting a little wider. That doesn't mean you can't work. I saw like toss is better, I feel like, than last year. If you get faster guys, you can get around the edge. Like some of the slow running backs that we're using in the beta might not be the best for those outside runs, but I think as we get better running backs to get out there, it will be better. So run game I still feel like is powerful. I think just the offense in general is powerful. Passing is also powerful. Limited wide receiver swerving this year, so you can still swerve a little bit, but it's definitely not as easy. So I don't like that. I hate when they take a control away from us. I know swerving has a bad thing in the Madden community, but it's the best word that we have for what we can do this year. Basically, taking control of your receiver and putting him in a more advantageous position. It's not a bad thing unless it's just like throwing up in triple coverage. And that kind of swerving is just generally a game bug, getting it between 3 people or 2 people, whatever it was, deep on one-on-ones. Which is something that I definitely want to take a look at going forward is those abilities like that Mike Evans. I didn't test that enough. Is he basically just overpowered having the deep outside abilities? We'll get to abilities in a bit. But that looks like I've heard some crazy things about that. So that's something I want to go more. And I'll do more impressions later, my final impressions at the end of the beta. So limited wide receiver swerving, a little bit harder to do that on other routes outside of those like outside streaks and stuff and long passes like that. The movement, I feel, did go backwards. We talked about users being like a Mack truck moving slow. I feel like the running back is a little bit worse too, in my opinion. I felt 20's movement is better than 21. Some of that can be due right now due to like, did I say due to? Due to speed and agility stats, but I do believe this is actually a downgrade versus 20 on the movement. They got to give us a little bit more control there. I bet you if we get human joystick, it'll feel better again. But it did feel a little less responsive. It felt a little bit more like the one cut system, where kind of like if you shifted your momentum too much, you did like a big stop and go, and it wasn't great, but again, could be stat related. But 20 felt a little bit better in my mind, even at the start during the beta. Get rid of the celebrations, right? Left trigger is celebrations now. I hate that change. I really do not like that. They said, hey, we're getting rid of steerable stuff, so we're taking off the left trigger and making that into celebration. So you'll try and like hit left trigger and try to like do a steerable spin. You'll celebrate and fumble. They just seem to want to kind of mess with the controller year to year and call it content, right? Last year they took off defensive adjustments and they said, oh, we'll just add some stuff later on those bumpers, and they never did, right? So it's like, okay, well, the right bumper became useless, and you said you were going to use it, but you didn't. So why did you switch it down to the D-pad when you didn't need to? Content. That's the skill gap. Learning to use the D-pad. This year, the skill gap is moving all the adjustments from the left bumper to the right bumper. Left bumper is not really used for anything. Why would you make that change? Like, they just do this stuff without, like, you got to come out and tell us why you're doing these things, because your reasonings and your thoughts that I can think of are not good right now. So that was kind of weird. They took away our steerable spins. They have it now on, like, the abilities. Maybe they thought it was too powerful. I didn't think it's too powerful. I think juking in the beta is really good, just a straight juke. I think it is very powerful. You move a big portion of the field on the juke. So it looks like juke, the dead leg, which was the down on the thumbstick, which is the new dead leg instead of the back. It looked okay. We'll see if we can get that to work a little bit more. The dead leg was fine. Juke looked a little bit like, because it moved more yardage, a little bit better, but we can maybe find ways to make the dead leg work better because it is new. So, yeah, get rid of the celebrations. The celebration screen popped up way too much. I know it was stupid as fuck. Get rid of that during non-touchdowns. No, I don't like it. But you know what? I don't think they're going to listen to me on that one. And that's one's so minor, I guess I don't care. It's just kind of annoying to pop up so often. Rat catches, great job getting rat catches to turn up field. Love it. Really good job right there. Rat catches, please don't change those at all. It'll be a good, I think this year is going to be a good year for a West Coast offense because of that rat catch change. That's going to be a huge meta change here in my opinion. Seam streaks, really good. Really good seam streaks right now. They're okay in 20, but 21, they look very powerful, especially with somebody like Mahomes' arm, how fast that ball gets to the receiver on the seam, and then like possession catch and the animations around wide receiver catching are wide receiver catching significantly better in Madden 21. Madden 20 wide receiver catching without abilities is terrible. 21, they actually hang on, they get better animations. I like it. I like wide receiver catching. It might be even a tad overpowered with how crazy they catch, especially with abilities. But I got to test a little bit. I got to test that a little bit more because, you know, I'll tell you more of my final impressions on wide receiver catching. QBs don't fumble enough on the run. I didn't get a QB to, like, I hit stick Lamar, I hit stick Mahomes on the run, and neither of them fumbled on me. And I was very sad about that. I don't want that. I like this whole like fatigue system. They should just make the quarterbacks fumble. Just make them fumble if they get hit sticked. Bring that back. If they run into that bad of a thing, like they can take hits now. Sure, they go down to red, but all you have to do is do the stamina glitch and you're back up. Ooh, great. I did, you know, either not run with them for a play or two, or I don't know. I make them fumble if they take a hit stick, please. That's the injury risk that they don't have in the game, and they put it into fumbling. Because you can fumble in the pocket, right? Fumbling in the pocket is turned up, right? It's the dumbest thing ever, right? You want to reward pocket passes in this game because mobile quarterbacks are overpowered in the beta. Mobile quarterbacks are just, if not more powerful than this last year in the beta because of the lack of fumbling. And the movement they have, they can kind of like just get out there, outrun spies, outrun the user. I mean, it is, you know, regs, and Lamar is that much faster than everybody else. So that's one thing to go with it. So they don't fumble enough on the run. They fumble too much in the pocket. It's just weird that they go backwards from where they were last year. They should, I already read this one. They change around buttons for no reason. Contain is on right bumper this year instead of left bumper. Screens actually work. Very big bonus. Screens are back and working. Nice. So I can see people running screens more into their offense. It is something that needed to be fixed. Good job. Players don't animate. How many times we've seen this for years when the ball's thrown near them, like a guy will catch the ball and the defender's right on him, but the defender won't interact. It just dumbs out. That is a problem with zones. They just seem to like, they either don't animate in two-man interactions, or they kind of like see it in front of them, they're kind of like, and then they fall over and the guy just keeps running, right? They don't actually play like professional players when the ball is thrown at them. They got to fix that. They gotta make the AI a lot better for zones and when the ball's thrown at them. Zones again are traffic cones out there. Like vert hooks don't recognize receivers running near them. Like they shouldn't like just once they get to the drop, they shouldn't just stop, right? They should be like, oh hey, a slant is coming my way. Maybe I should squeeze the slant, get ready to kind of like cut it off a little bit. Instead, they just sit there, wait for the quarterback to throw, and then they react once, their zone rating tells them to react. So if they have the low zone, it won't react till the ball gets there. And like if they have a high zone rating, it'll react quicker, so on and so forth. So they got to react better to routes on the field, and they got to recognize guys that are kind of coming near them. Scramble, drill, that kind of stuff. So, fumbles, yeah, I read this one on that. That was that note. Quick passes seem nice. I think the West Coast offense will be really nice this year, especially with the user being nerfed quite like how it is. Now, a lot of people hate that the user's nerfed because it is a skill gap. I think I'm on the fence about this. I want more time with it. I initially absolutely fucking hated users. Then I played an online game, got a user pick. I'm like, okay, well that worked. You can no longer be insane with it, but it is a skill gap. This just shows that you need to skill gap it more. I'm on the fence. I wouldn't mind seeing what the meta looks like now that the West Coast offense can work because users can't cover multiple short routes and send the house at you. I'm not against it. I started, I really hated it. I almost put down 21's beta because of how much I hated it at first, and then I grew to love it because the meta is completely different and it's not the same thing as 20. So I'm optimistic. I think it is going to be hated by a lot of people when they get their hands on it, though. And I'm worried, but I'm kind of optimistic. So there's still going to be a skill gap in usering. D-line usering, I had my opponent do that against me, and I didn't really feel extra heat versus regular Madden 20 abilities on the D-line, so it wasn't anything insane but they could just be, a fucking rookie about it. I still think using linebacker will be the meta. New abilities are the rework zone abilities, part of the new... Oh, yeah. The rework zone abilities, it's kind of weird. All these abilities, somebody did a nice breakdown of it on the Madden 21 close beta and the Ultimate Team Celebrate. I'll put in the link below so you can read through them. Some new ones like Truz is a new offensive X factor. You can't fumble as a result of a tackle, which is already in the game stock. He just doesn't fumble. Doesn't even need the X factor. Momentum defense has the same ones they've had. Offense, defense, so that's the only new one. They have pro reads back, so on and so forth. Abilities, comeback, reduce. Yeah, that's a Mahomes. Reduce zone objectives while losing. Dashing Deadeye, red zone Deadeye. Dashing Deadeye is nice. It only goes up to 40 yards now, so you can't do those one play cover 3 beaters on the run across your body, 80 yards down the field or whatever it is. The max distance throw, that one's kind of crazy. It's gonna be a lot harder to hit cover 3 beaters because they'll beat out your max distance and you'll get a really big penalty. So I think cover 3 beaters, it's definitely doable. Cover 3 beaters are definitely doable. I got one myself, but I think it might be a little tough because I had one with Tom Brady where he got that penalty because the guy was too far down the field, and it's going to be a weird thing to kind of judge that max distance penalty that they threw in the game to help stop some of that stuff. We'll see. Red zone Deadeye, max accuracy, or perfect pass accuracy in the red zone. I did notice quarterbacks are bad with pass leading. I try to pass lead wide receivers away from their man coverage, and the quarterback would continually throw it behind the receiver, even pass leading in front. So that's something that might be a problem, right? Man coverage might be, even though they're behind the wide receiver, tight end, whatever it is, they could still get the knockout because the quarterback just throws it behind the wide receiver. So that looked like an issue to me, that they weren't pass leading correctly. Otherwise, a lot of stuff you can go through, but the one thing that the deep out elite, improved catching on deep passes outside the numbers on Evans and stuff, I worry that might be a little powerful. That's something I said that I want to work on. Tyreek Hill is more powerful in 21 than he was in 20. Tyreek Hill, I just couldn't cover him for my opponent. I beat my opponent, but he just throw to Hill and I have a guy on him, and it's Hill would just outrun him and rack it and catch it, and he's got grab and go, so he's basically a human joystick after the catch anyways. Hill was a fucking beast. And again, this is Regs, so he should be a beast. But yeah, Regs is so unbalanced, it's crazy. But that's real life, ain't it? So yeah, I don't know. It's becoming powerful, but I kind of want to see. I kind of want to play more games to see just how much and how can people abuse that a little bit more. Because Kelsey, he has the deep out elite, which I think he has he has the tight end apprentice too, right? So he can go on that tight end corner routes too. Use his deep out elite to kind of catch the ball too. So Kelsey's pretty solid there on the Kansas City, right? Another weapon there to go along with Hill. Mike, the receivers are really good. Okay. Julio only played with him one game. I didn't really throw to him a whole tons, but the other guys were. The new abilities. Yeah, I don't know how many. The 50 new ones. That's the one part about not seeing all. We're not able to properly test the game and the abilities, right? The most overpowered portion of the game are the abilities. Like, are the rework zone abilities part of those 50 new ones? Like, do they count them in there, or is it going to be actually like new abilities, but you're not letting us test it before the game launches? I don't get their strategy corporately. I just don't understand it. Like, they want to keep some for launch, but like, aren't we supposed to test them? Like, is it going to be that exciting to see an unbalanced ability on launch that's like different? No. Let us know what they are now. It's not going to sell us the game a new ability at launch. Let us test out, see if they're overpowered first. Quarterbacks throw the ball behind the wide receiver. Yeah, I read that one. Users do get sucked into juke out animations. Again, this has been an issue for Madden for the past, 4 years since Madden 18 spins. I don't know why they make users suck into juke out animations. It's just a dumb thing. Don't do it. Stop it. I clicked on a guy, ran towards the ball carrier. He juked. My guy did like a slip animation. No, you were like, oh, did you click on too late? No, I clicked on him before getting to that animation, and I still got sucked. So, juke out animation still a sad thing to see. Wide receiver catches the ball better. Yeah, I read that one. And interception camera still sucks. And then I still want to look at the wide receiver ability. So that's my feedback. 16 minutes. Sorry. I don't know if it went too long, but take a look at the abilities. Nice work here. What were you guys' thoughts on the feedback, the beta? We got the forums there too. You can put it. So thanks for watching Call to Action. Let me know what you guys think. See you later.